Let's go ahead and talk about the September 2nd, 2025 episode of NXT. Now we kick off the show with the first match of the night. It was Jaida Parker versus Lash Legend, one-on-one tonight on NXT. In this match, it was a pretty good one. It was back and forth and everything. At one point, Lash Legend chokeslammed Jaida Parker into the ring, and it looked like Jaida hit the back of her head on the mat. She wasn't knocked out, but you could tell she was in some pain. But then she still continued to fight through and everything, so the match continued. It was back and forth and everything. They go outside the ring going at it. We see Lash Legend hitting the punk kick onto Jaida Parker, and then she picks her up, hitting the Lash extension onto Parker across the announce table. Throws Parker back into the ring, and then hits a second Lash extension onto Jaida Parker, pinning her for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Lash Legend defeated Jaida Parker tonight in a one-on-one match, but then after the match ended, we see Lash Legend walking up the ramp, and then she gets attacked from behind by Jaida Parker, and Parker's beating her down, throwing her into the barricade, and then she hits Hypnotic onto Lash Legend through the barricade, laying her out. So yeah, the feud between Lash Legend and Jaida Parker is not over yet, but yeah. Pretty decent match between the two women, and what happened after the match was pretty good. I'll give it all 2.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. But yeah, that's what happened there. But then after that, we see Ariana Grace talking to Channing Stacks Lorenzo, but then they get interrupted by Blake Monroe, and Blake Monroe was telling Ariana Grace that, she's getting tired of Jordan Grace and everything, and then Ariana Grace was talking about how she's not related to Jordan Grace because of the last name and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what he was talking about there, and then Jordan Grace comes in there, and she was ready to go at it with Blake Monroe. They started pushing each other, and then Blake quickly ran off, and then Kelly Armstrong comes up, and, she starts beefing with Jordan Grace, and it looks like they're going to probably have a match tonight. So, yeah, that's what happened there. But, yeah, up next we'll be hearing from Javon Evans up next on NXT, and later on tonight we're going to be seeing an 8-man tag team match with DarkState versus Ricky Saints, Femi, and Hank and Tank later on tonight on NXT. So, yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So, the next thing that happened on NXT, we get to the next segment of the night where we see Javon Evans. He makes his way out there to the ring, and he grabs the mic and he starts cutting a promo. And, yeah, he's all upset and everything because he lost his match against Femi for the NXT Championship at NXT Heatwave, like about last weekend. So, yeah, that's what Javon Evans is upset about. He's not too happy about that, but then he was talking about how, that he heard the ref counting the 3 count and everything, but the fans are still behind him and all that stuff. But yeah, he was all upset about it. But then all of a sudden on the big screen, we see a motorcycle come pulling up. And it looked like we was thinking of who it was. And then, Javon was still talking and everything up until the gong goes off. And we are all thinking as The Undertaker. But instead of him, it was Josh Briggs. Josh Briggs comes out there, and Josh Briggs starts talking crap to Javon Evans and everything, talking about how nobody's there to give him a pep talk, and he says that he's definitely not there to give him a pep talk at all either. So yeah, that's what he was telling Javon, and Javon was talking about how he understands that Josh Briggs is going to be telling him that he has a long time and all that stuff to become NXT champion, and Josh Briggs is getting tired of Javon Evans getting handouts and all that stuff. Well, he's been there for a while, so yeah, that's what Briggs is talking about there, and he keeps on telling Javon to shut up, but Javon kept on talking up until Briggs had a big boot onto him, and he starts attacking him. So yeah, Josh Briggs starts beating down Javon Evans, and then we see him grab a steel chair, setting it up in the ring, and choke slams him onto the steel chair, like the back of Javon's head hitting the steel chair while sitting up. So yeah, that's what happened there with Josh Briggs laying out Javon Evans. Pretty good segment there. They're starting a feud for sure. But yeah, then after that we see Xia Brookside talking about how she's going to be making her NXT debut tonight and facing off against Candice LeRae to try and go after the Speed Championship. So yeah, that's what's going on there later on tonight in a one-on-one match. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So the next thing that happened on NXT, we get to the next match of the night. It was Candice LeRae versus Xia Brookside in a one-on-one match. Now, this match gets 3 minutes because it's for a number one contender shot for the Speed Championship. So yeah, we get to this match. In this match, it was pretty decent for the most part. Both of these women was rolling up each other a lot of times in this one. But then we started counting down to the final moments of this match where it got like about 40-something seconds or whatever, with Candice LeRae hitting a tornado DDT on Xia Brookside, and then she springboarded off the second rope with a moonsault onto her, pinning her for the 3 count. So yeah, Candice LeRae defeated Xia Brookside in a one-on-one match tonight on NXT and advances in the tournament. But yeah, that's what happened there. For that match, I'll give it 1 star. That's what I'll give it. But yeah, after that match, we see Josh Briggs backstage pretty much trying to bully everyone and everything. And then we see Chase U sticking up, against Josh Briggs right there. Talking about what they did to Javon sucked and everything. So yeah, that's what Kill Dixon and Aura Connors were saying. And then we see Andre Chase getting in between them, and Andre Chase trying pretty much get everyone to cool down. And then Josh Briggs blaming Andre Chase for pretty much putting things in their heads and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what he was saying there. And then Kill Dixon then was going to go talk to Ava to set up a match between Andre Chase and Josh Briggs. So yeah, that's what happened there. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. And there was one more backstage segment. I forgot to mention this happened before the Candice LeRae match, where we did see Femi and Ricky Sands getting ready for their match, and then we see Hank and Tank pretty much trying to hype them up for the tag team match later on tonight. So yeah, I forgot to mention that part, but that happened earlier. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So the next thing that happened on NXT, we get to the next segment of the night where we see the TNA World Heavyweight Champion Trick Williams, and he comes out there and he was talking about a lot of people who talks a lot of crap about NXT, but then he tells them that he don't blame them because, Raw and SmackDown's a lot more better, and he says that he's going to go up to Raw and SmackDown eventually and live in the suburbs and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what he was talking about, having a nice house, traveling to Europe and Paris and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what Trick Williams was talking about there. He was talking about the lavish lifestyle and all that stuff, but then he gets interrupted by a tag team where they got their original theme song back, and yeah, that was Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano DIY. They come out there with the original OG theme song. That was just really great, and they come out there with the OG merch and all that stuff, and they get into the ring, and they was talking about the titles and everything that they held as well. Ciampa was talking about how he's a 2-time NXT champion. Gargano was talking about how he's a 3-time NXT North America champion, but then they brought up the tag team title reigns and all that stuff, and Gargano was talking about how his tag team partner was always a little bit grumpy after the shows until a little logo pops up on the screen. So yeah, that's what he was talking about there. If you know, you know. But yeah, that's what he was talking about there, and they was talking about how they never won the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, and Trick Williams, he is pretty good and all that, but he's not better than everyone else in NXT. So yeah, that's what he was talking about there. And then he tell Ciampa gets in Trick's face, knocks off his sunglasses, and he says that he better be looking at him when he's talking to him. And Trick was getting all upset. He tries to attack Ciampa, but then he gets hit with a super kick by Gargano, and then we see DIY hitting knee in the middle onto Trick Williams, laying him out in the middle of the ring. So yeah, DIY lays out Trick Williams tonight on NXT. That's what happened there. Pretty good segment. But yeah, then after that we see Ava talking to Javon Evans backstage and got him to give him his word to her about how he's not going to be interfering in Josh Briggs and Andre Chase's match tonight. And he got kicked out of the arena. So yeah, that's what happened there. But yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on NXT. See you guys later. Till then. So the next thing that happened on NXT, we get to the next match of the night. It was Jordynne Grace versus Callie Armstrong in a one-on-one match. We get to this match. Callie Armstrong was taking control of this match a little bit. She starts hitting the ropes and everything, but then at the ending, we actually see Jordynne Grace hit the Beast Bomb onto Callie Armstrong, pinning her for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Jordynne Grace defeated Callie Armstrong tonight in a one-on-one match. And yeah, for that match and what happens after the match, I'll give it all 2.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. But then after the match ended, we see Blake Monroe quickly coming out there, and her and Jordynne Grace is brawling outside the ring, going back and forth and everything, up until Blake got thrown into the steel steps, and then referees and security guard starts holding back Jordynne Grace, and then we see Blake Monroe got her hand open, and then we see blood dripping from her nose. So yeah, that's what happened there. She was busted open tonight on NXT, and she was not too happy about that. But yeah, that's what happened there. But then after that, we see a promo package of Lola Vice, because she is now the #1 contender for the NXT Women's Championship, and she was talking about where she grew up from, so got to know Lola Vice a little bit more and everything. So that's what happened there. But yeah, still to come later on tonight in the main event, we're going to be seeing DarkState in an 8-man tag team match, and they'll be taking on Femi, Ricky Sainz, and Hank and Tank later on tonight in an 8-man tag team match on NXT. But next, we're going to be seeing Josh Briggs versus Andre Chase one-on-one up next. That'll be up next on NXT. So yeah, Josh Briggs versus Andre Chase one-on-one up next. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So, the next thing that happened on NXT, before we talk about the next match of the night, it was a couple backstage segments. So, yeah, we see Ava talking to a bunch of the women backstage, like Fatal Influence, Soruka and Zarya, and Tatum Paxley and Izzy Dame. And she pretty much was trying to set up a match for some tag teams from the women on NXT to go against the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships for the title. So, yeah, that's what she was going up there, and every woman starts arguing there. So, yeah, that's what happened there. But then after that, we see Ava talking to Tavion Heiss and Ethan Page, and yeah, they was talking about a match and everything, but then Ethan Page starts getting upset. He goes like, what, is it going to be a flag match or something? And then Ava pretty much makes the match next week that it'll be Tavion Heiss versus Ethan Page in a flag match now. And Ethan Page was not too happy about that since, you said it. But yeah, then after that, we get to the next match of the night. It was Josh Briggs versus Andre Chase with Kel Dixon and Aura Connors at ringside, Chase U. And yeah, this match, it was pretty good for the most part. Josh Briggs is taking control of this match a lot of times in this one, but then Andre Chase starts coming back and jumping off the top turnbuckle with a crossbody, getting a 2 count out of that and everything, but then Briggs starts coming back with Andre Chase hitting a bunch of super kicks on Briggs, but then Briggs catches the split at one point, choke slamming him. He picks him up and then he hits a big boot onto him, pinning him for the 3 count. So yeah, Josh Briggs defeated Andre Chase tonight in a one-on-one match, but then after the match ended, we see Chase U trying to help out Andre Chase, but then they both get beat down outside the ring. Cole Dixon getting thrown down with a big boot, and then we see Aura Connors get chokeslammed through the announce table, getting laid out. So yeah, Josh Briggs lays out Chase U tonight on NXT. But yeah, for the match, what happened after the match, I'll give it all 2.5 stars as well. I'll give it, but up next it'll be the main event. It'll be the 8-man tag team match. So yeah, that match is up next, and yeah, I'll see you guys later. Till then. So the next thing that happened on NXT, we get to the next match of the night. It was the main event. It was the NXT champion Femi, Ricky Sainz, Hank Walker, and Tank Ledger versus the NXT tag team champions DarkState in a 8-man tag team match. So yeah, we'll get to this match. In this match, it was a pretty good one. Femi, Ricky Sainz was working together most of the time in this match, but then during this match, Ricky Sainz starts taking control of this match. He hits the ropes, but then he gets slapped in the back of the head by Femi, which he tagged himself in. And then Femi, Ricky Sainz is pissed off about that, and Femi at one point catches Saquon Sugars and then throws him onto Ricky Sainz, taking both of them out, and then Ricky Sainz slaps the hell out of Femi. Both guys starts going at it, and then Femi clotheslines Ricky Sainz over the top rope, and he goes over with them, and both guys was brawling, and then that left Hank and Tank in the ring, while both guys brawled to the back, and yeah, Hank and Tank was trying to do everything that they could do to try to beat down DarkState. DarkState was getting the upper hand because it's 4-on-2, but then we see Hank and Tank doing pretty decently against DarkState, and then Hank gets grabbed by the throat by Cutler James, and then he screams out Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry's theme song starts playing, and then Joe Hendry's up there on the ring apron, and he distracts Cutler James, but then Cutler James gets picked up, and he gets hit by Hank and Tank's finishing move, tag team finishing move, onto him, getting pinned for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Hank Walker, Tank Ledger, Femi, and Ricky Sainz defeated DarkState tonight in an 8-man tag team match. DarkState was not too happy about that, and we see Joe Hendry celebrating with Hank and Tank inside the ring, and then backstage, we see Ricky Sainz and Femi still brawling with security, trying to pull them apart, and that ends off the show. So yeah, that's what happened there. For the main event, I'll give it 3 stars as well. I'll give it for match of the night, I guess it will be the main event. But yeah, for tonight's NXT, I'll give it 7.5 stars. That's why I'll give it decent episode. But yeah, that has been my NXT September 2nd, 2025 reviews. Like, subscribe to TNW Wrestling on YouTube. Follow me on all my social media accounts, and I'll be down there in the description box. And I'll see you guys later for tomorrow night's AEW Dynamite reviews. See you guys later. Till then.